A280 CFE scope configuration. It is relatively consistent with the Endor A280 in the top right corner and the A300 short version of the blaster, consistent but not 100% identical. Given the variations in the design, I decided that the two must be the same type of scope functionally, but not necessarily the same makeup. Even though my intention is that my blaster be as close to the screen-used version as possible, I figured I would try to fashion a scope out of real scope mounting hardware that would be instantly recognizable as belonging in the same family and universe as the prop used ones. Here's how I did it. Okay, full disclosure, at this point in the build this is a work in progress, primarily because of problems with the very foundation of the scope, namely the Nerf tactical rail and the wrong size scope rings, which can be seen here as definitely not high-rise. Here it is with the high-rise scope mounts. What looks like it works just fine is in fact trick photography with forced perspective. If you look closely, although the high-rise scope rings now put the scope at the proper height to make the cantilever mount, neither of the scope rings is attached to any part of the blaster. Look really close. Here's where the problem began. If I mounted the cantilever mount all the way forward, I could just barely mount the scope ring in the back. Okie dokie. Problem solved, right? Wrong. At this point, the tube antenna thing that comes out the front of the scope isn't attached. This is a mock-up of the scope with the spike protruding, and may or may not shroud the cantilever scope mount. Look at how far back the scope is from the muzzle of the blaster on the actual A300. Too far forward and it's technically incorrect. This is something I may have to accept anyway, but there is another problem. When you order the conversion kits for this blaster on the interwebs, they are either resin cast or direct 3D prints, meaning they are made out of plastic. The mountings are entirely cosmetic and are secured by epoxy or glue, not the actual mounting hardware. Complicating matters is the fact that the tack rail on the Nerf is flimsy and not designed to accommodate actual Weaver tack style mounts. As such, it would not support the weight of the scope I was building. I figured that the best workaround option would be to get a Weaver style riser adapter that I could more firmly mount to the Nerf rail, and then the scope to the metal rail, which I determined should be a bit longer than the Nerf rail anyways. Problem solved, right? Here's what I bought. Looks good. Low rise, plenty long for what I'm needing, solid metal construction, sturdy looking mounting hardware, just the ticket. Or so I thought. Only one problem. I am an idiot. In my haste to get this vital piece, I didn't pay attention to the listing, which clearly stated this was for dovetail mounts only. This is a Weaver rail. It is a standard tactical rail in use today on all modern military firearms. It is the same style as the tack rail on the Glowstrike. This is a dovetail scope rail. Note the difference in rail shape as seen in this pic, showing a cross section of the adapter I bought. No matter how hard you try, you cannot mount a dovetail mount to a Weaver rail. Having spent more than I care to admit on this thing, I determined to double down by cutting the tack rail completely off the blaster and finding a way to secure the riser to a bracket, which in turn would be secured deep in the hole left by my extreme modification. Carved a shim out of EVA because I knew I could force it to notch the railing if I slid it from one end to the other. I drilled holes to secure it to the screw post inside the blaster and put the gun back together. Taking a long, honest look at the process, I realized that I was basically trying to put lipstick on a pig. In other words, I was trying to force a bad decision to work just because I didn't want to waste the money spent already. The fact is that while the placement of the scope was okay, I was not happy with how high the visor placed the scope reticle, and while held firmly by the shim, the weight of the scope still tended to flop side to side. I knew the only way to fix that would be to epoxy it to the gun. Consequently, I decided to bite the bullet and go for a more radical solution. I decided to remove the front sight post, ditch the riser, and mount an actual metal weave tack rail to the top of the gun, securing it in the open hole with the milling butt epoxy, which I also used to cover the holes left by my cutting the front sight off. Applied correctly, millet butt hardens rock solid with UV saprolite Bondo, and the rail and upper receiver tube cured perfectly. I then elected to cover the dart access port cover to bring the rear of the gun closer to the height of the front, also using millet butt. I fashioned a faux charging handle out of EVA foam and cut the orange cube off the buttstock in preparation for creating a screen-accurate butt plate for the rear of the upper receiver. Unfortunately, this removed the trigger spring mechanism, rendering the trigger and laser electronics unusable. I have yet to find a workaround for this, but at least it will look more like a real prop. With these mods, I was by my estimate almost 80% done. All that was left was to let the needle get pure, sand the rough edges, put the base, split and sling mounts on, fill the screw holes, paint and weather it, put a muzzle on the barrel. Tune in next time to see how it turned out.